Welcome into another episode of your WCPO High School Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Dyer. Pleased to be joined by two area football coaches today, Fairfield's Jason Krause and Turpin's Kent McCullough. And they were kind enough to bring along a couple of their players as well for this interview. So we're going to be talking to them momentarily. I want to remind everybody this WCPO High School Insider Podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Download the app today for extra points. As always, you can find us on Google Play, Stitcher, and Apple Podcasts. And as I mentioned earlier this week on our WCPO Facebook group, there are 18 area teams on the Ohio side of the river that have started the season 3-0. We're pleased to be joined by two of those today on the WCPO High School Insider. And I want to welcome in Fairfield coach Jason Krause, along with standout senior running back Jason McCullough. They're joining us from the field house there inside Fairfield Stadium. And guys, thanks for taking a few minutes today.
Mike, thanks for having us on. It's a real pleasure.
Well, great. So, hey, Coach, just want to ask you, obviously, what's been the biggest key for the Indians' success so far? Entering Week 4, undefeated for the first time since 2015, starting 3-0. What do you like most about this team right now?
Well, I think it starts with senior leadership. I think it's what's really kind of led us through the entire offseason to this point. Really, really good group of young men that understand where we want to go and how we need to get there.
And Jason, obviously, everybody knows what you did last season, and you've continued that production, obviously, through 3 weeks, 467 yards rushing on 59 carries. That's almost 8 yards per carry. And then you had 173 yards in the first half and 2 touchdowns last week in that 47-7 win at Middletown. And tell me what you like most about the way you and your teammates have been playing, Jason.
I just like our relationship. We have a stronger relationship than we did last year, so it makes us better on and off the field, and we just continue to make each other better at practices.
Coach, you knew this was going to be a talented team. You said in the preseason, maybe the most athletic team you've had since being there at Fairfield. Tell us, I guess, first of all, offensively, obviously the guy sitting next to you has done a lot, but your quarterback, senior Sawai Ellis, a Toledo commit, seems like he's really had some outstanding performances here through 3 weeks.
Well, I think, that's really made our offense go, the fact that we've got him and Jason in the backfield together. He's a guy that can hurt you with his feet for sure. He's done a really nice job turning himself into a quarterback. He's committed to Toledo as a defensive back. He's just been a big athlete for us, but he's really developed into a quarterback that makes good quarterback decisions.
Had some quality wins already. I mean, Springfield and Centerville, and then opening up GMC play last week. And what is it about this identity of this Indians group? I mean, you've had the talent, you've had the experience the past few years. I mean, it seems like right now things are just clicking on all cylinders. Well,
I think Jason touched base on it. It's a very tight bunch. 33 seniors. It's the largest senior class I've had since I've been here. I think that says a lot about the tightness and the closeness of that group. They play for each other. They play for the F on their chest, and they play with a lot of passion.
Who else has really been standing out for you offensively? Maybe some guys that have kind of flown under the radar, as it were. Who are some guys that we should be paying attention as you host Hamilton on Friday night?
Well, I think the offensive line has really been what we've put our hat on. I think Jason's obviously got a lot of yards, but we've also been able to run the ball in other ways. We've really been able to establish the jet sweep. So it goes across the board. Our perimeter block has been great. I'd have to mention Caleb Sexton in that breath. He's our big wide out, not quite, as big as Eric All, but kind of along that mold in that Eric All stature in our offense. And Caleb has really kind of led the way to that perimeter blocking that's going on out there.
Defensively, looking at the GMC site here, junior defensive lineman Brandon Smith, 4.5 sacks, had 8 tackles last week. What do you like about the way he's been playing for you?
Well, the best thing about him is he's a junior, so we'll get him back next year. So we really love that. But, he's a wrestler. He's kind of that prototypical gritty, tough defensive lineman that plays with great leverage. He's really quick off the ball, plays really well with his hands, and just plays with a lot of fire and passion.
Jason, what's been Coach's emphasis to you guys this week as you prepare for Hamilton on Friday night?
Don't let the heat mess with our game. We gotta. They're gonna be playing in the same heat as us, so we gotta take that and get better with it, and don't take any plays off. Every rep is gotta make it your best.
What about, I ask this a lot of questions to seniors all the time, especially, when you get to this point where, you only get 10 guaranteed weeks your senior season for high school football. And what has Fairfield football meant to you, Jatan? You've accomplished so much. I mean, people know you're verbally committed to the University of Kentucky, and they see all the stats and everything behind that. But what does this program mean to you?
I came here my freshman year, and it was real different from where I previously went Woods. But it was something I liked a lot better. I liked the culture. I liked how the coach carried us, how he wanted us to carry ourselves, how we had to represent our logo outside of football. I just loved everything about it. So I just keep pushing myself and getting better off of that.
Coach, I know you kind of run out of superlatives when we're talking about Jatan there, but it seems like coaches never tire of speaking about standouts, seniors who have exhibited the leadership and the talent and the production that the guy sitting next to you has. So what makes him so special?
Well, the one thing that I hope that the younger kids take from watching Jatan handle his business is the way he handles it day to day. Rep to rep in practice. Been doing this for 26 years now, and there's not a lot of guys that take it every rep every day in practice like he does. I really heard a great quote, and I think Luke Fickell said it. There's lazy players, there's just everyday players, and then there's guys that just make plays all the time. Jatan is one of those guys that doesn't take a play off even in practice daily. And that's what I really would like young kids to take from his character and his passion for the game of football.
How do you think he's improved just from a year ago even?
I think his leadership, he's become more vocal. He's really stepped up in that position on this team, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but for the entire team. And obviously he had a great season in the weight room, put on some good pounds and good strength, and just a stronger football player right now. The thing that really I think is different on a Friday night, he's really improved his ball skills. He's a guy now that we can put in the slot and throw it to him, and I'm pretty sure that Kentucky has those same kind of plans for him in his future.
And Coach, what's been your message this week? 3-0, obviously you don't want to get ahead of yourselves. I mean, how do you keep it a week-to-week process for your players and just kind of keep them in the moment?
Well, I think three things with Hamilton. Number one, they're a new coaching staff. New scheme, new energy. Number two, I think they're probably a little bit better coached on both sides of the ball. It seems like they're understanding their scheme, and they've got, I think the athletes that they have now are a little more explosive than what they had in the last couple of years. And finally, I think the big thing for us is it's a rival game. I mean, for as long as you can remember, Hamilton-Fairfield was that Week 10 game in the GMC, which was a huge rivalry game. And a lot of our kids know their kids. We consider them the team on the other side of the tracks. So I think that's the energy we've got to practice with this week, and that's the understanding we have to have on Friday night.
Jatan, a final question for you. I mean, what's it like playing in this rivalry game?
We just got to go out there and execute. We have a target on our back. We're gonna go like that every week. Target on our back. Everyone wants to take us out. We just got to go and execute like we do at practice.
Well, I want to thank you guys. Fairfield coach Jason Krause, senior running back Jatan McClain. Thank you for your time and perspective, and best of luck Friday night.
Thanks for having us on, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Well, really appreciate Fairfield coach Jason Krause and senior running back Jatan McClain taking a few minutes before practice today to explain why the Indians have been so successful the past 3 weeks. I want to remind everybody this WCPO High School Insider podcast is presented by our local Chick-fil-A restaurants, where the winning play is always chicken. Go for the extra point today with a side of their new macaroni and cheese. And I want to bring in Turpin head football coach Kent McCullough, along with senior quarterback Justin Silverstein and senior running back and linebacker Reese Evans. Guys, thanks for taking a few minutes for joining me today.
Thanks for having us, Mike.
Well, hey, coming off a 62-13 win over Troy last week, that tied the program record for most points in a single game. Coach, I'll have to ask you, I mean, have you been a part of such a game before in your coaching career?
No, I have. The craziness of Friday night was a lot of fun. The amount, all three phases, offense, defense, special teams do part, especially special teams, but recovered 2 fumble kickoffs and blocked a punt. Just made it for some short fields for these guys to put a lot of points on the board. Defense played well all night long, so just made for a great team win. We talk about all three phases doing their part, and it definitely came to fruition on Friday night.
Justin, how fun was it playing in that game?
It was great. All three phases coming together is always a fun thing to have, and offense putting up that many points is just great.
Reese, you rushed for 183 yards and 3 touchdowns. That had to have been a very enjoyable night for the Spartans all around.
Yeah, it was an extremely enjoyable night, seeing that many points up on the board and seeing a bunch of different people score and getting the end zone. Celebrating with the teams after putting up so many points was just a phenomenal night.
Coach, 3-0 for the first time since 2016. I mean, what do you really like most about this group? You mentioned both sides of the ball playing well right now, but what's been the key to success? Maybe even just the camaraderie aspect of everything.
Oh, no, definitely the camaraderie aspect of it, but I got 24 seniors that are just giving us everything they got every single day. They started back in January when we started up with this group of guys with off-season workouts to summertime workouts. These guys right here, captains of the team, leaders on the field, off the field, just doing things the right way, pushing it, and we're seeing it carry over. Like we talked about, in the summertime of this group of this senior class just being a special group of kids. So it's been every day coming to practice has been a lot of fun, and getting ready for Friday nights and just watching them go and have fun. I tell the kids all the time, I go, we want to win games. That's the number one thing we want to do, but we want to have fun while we're doing it too. And so we respect the process during the week, and we go out on Friday night and fly around and get after it and put on a show.
I think a lot of local observers kind of had their eyebrows raised when you guys beat Lakota East earlier this season. I guess I'd ask Coach and Justin and Reese the same thing. I mean, were you guys surprised at all that you defeated a GMC team like that?
I've been playing with this group of guys since I can remember, 6th grade. So going into that, I have all the confidence in the world. So I wouldn't say I was surprised at all.
Same thing, after the scrimmages we had at the start of the season, we saw the potential we have for the regular season, and however many games we win, with all of that, I felt like we had, all the potential to do what we did in that game and even better, beat 3-0 at the start of the season.
I'm sorry, Reese, how much confidence did that give the group, Coach, when you talk about beating a quality GMC opponent like Lakota East?
It gave us a lot of confidence, but I think we had a lot of confidence going into the game. I think we had a lot of confidence in just the way we could play. We talk about times about putting the blinders on. No matter who we're playing, let's go out and do what we can do. And I think a lot of times we've told them to just focus on what you're capable of doing, from an offense or defensive special team standpoint. And, it really doesn't matter who we play. But we definitely knew going in there, it would be a statement game. GMC school, last year they made the second round of playoffs. We knew that we had a tough task in front of us, but we answered the bell that night.
Justin was 12 of 17 passing, 227 yards and 4 touchdowns Friday night against Troy. Coach, you told me Saturday morning when I called you, you said you were on your way to the UC Miami game, but you said Justin's been playing lights out for us. I mean, how effective has he been managing this offense for the Spartans?
Oh, extremely. I think it goes back to his relationship with the offensive coordinator, Rob Page. Those guys and how they can communicate and they work together. And Coach Page is always about putting Justin and putting Reese and the whole offense in the right positions to make plays. But you need to have a guy that can pull the trigger. And Justin's been making the right reads. We saw his legs on Friday night taking off for an 89-yard run, which was great. I was yelling on the headset to get out of bounds, and Coach Page just said, "Coach, he's gone." So when you have a special kid back there doing his thing, you kind of just let him go. And, the way offenses are now, if you get great quarterback play, you're going to be doing well on Friday night. And we're getting that right now with Justin.
Reese, you have 461 rushing yards tied for the ECC lead. And, Coach, I'd ask you, how key has Reese been to this offense?
You want to have multiple people that could challenge the defense. We got Reese, we have Justin, you have Josh Bell, you have Caden Naughton. You have 2 guys on the outside with Max Gundrum and Logan Hurley. You got to pick your poison versus us. And so whenever you get Justin and Reese working together and then you get the guys on the outside, you really have to sit back and go, because from a defensive perspective, you're trying to, who do we shut down? Well, you really can't. and the way these guys are playing, that's why we kind of just say all the time, like the only people that can stop us is us. So between a combination of these two in the backfield and the guys on the outside, it's a formidable challenge.
Bigger picture, Justin and Reese, I asked the same thing to Jaton McClain there at Fairfield just earlier, but what has Turpin football meant to you guys? Being seniors, you're invested in this program, and tell us kind of a little bit about your journey individually through being a Turpin football player.
It's always been special to me. I had a brother go through here. He had a brother go through here. So I've been watching it for a long time, and there's been a lot of special teams. So I think just being on a special team, hopefully this year, just means the world to me. It's a lot of fun. So,
Reese, go ahead.
Like he said, we've had siblings grow up and go through the program. And ever since I was younger, I've always been coming to the games and seeing what Turpin brings to the table. And we just trying to compete as hard as we can and live to Turpin expectations that are set.
Reese and Justin, what have you been hearing from your classmates and maybe just people around the school community about this 3-0 start?
I've heard a lot of stuff. They all like to tell us we're doing great, everything, but you gotta avoid that. Just move on to the next week.
Same thing. Everyone's just expecting a lot of points out of us and a lot of big wins each and every week.
Coach, they're giving the good standard media answers. What is it? What is the reality?
Well, the reality is, and we talked about it on Mondays, I got a great line from Bill Belichick about avoiding the noise, and keeping these guys focused each week is our coaching staff does a very good job of, we always talk about respect all and fear none. And kind of when we go out there, we have to respect the process throughout the week and everything of getting ready to go. But what happens when you do well and we get like on a podcast with you, it's like it means things are going well. And that's to continuing to, as things go well, we continue to enjoy it because as I've been coaching long enough to know, being on special teams is you need to enjoy it during the year. And as we're enjoying it during the year, we are still focusing on what we need to do each and every Friday night. And that's what it comes down to, because we talk about, if we don't focus, then that magic can stop. And we don't want it to stop because it's a lot of fun right now.
What have you been emphasizing to your guys as you kind of get into ECC play this week? You host West Claremont on Friday night. I know they've had a tough road here the past couple of weeks, but, what's been the emphasis as you tell your guys, hey, we're getting into conference play now?
Boy, this is definitely, we call it a hardware game because you got to win these games to be able to carry hardware at the end of the year. So it's no matter who we play in the conference, we got to go out and do our job. We know they're going to be tough. They're going to be physical. They're going to come ready to play no matter what adversities they've already had this season. It's going to be a good challenge. But we like the fact that we're at home. We like the fact that we get to get our home crowd and our atmosphere, and it gets crazy at the stadium on Friday night. So it's exciting. It's exciting no matter who we play. No matter what their record might be, we want to put a show on Friday night.
Senior quarterback Justin Silverstein, senior running back and linebacker Reese Evans, and Turpin head football coach Kent McCullough. Guys, thanks for taking a few minutes. We really appreciate your perspective, and best of luck to the Spartans the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. And thank you for joining us on the WCPO High School Insider Podcast. Our game of the week this week is at Charlie Frederick Stadium. We have Moeller at Winton Woods, and was out at Winton Woods practice earlier this week talking to head coach Andre Parker, and really likes the way his guys are playing right now, but definitely want to keep the focus as always improvement in Forest Park, and that's what the Warriors are aiming to do this week. Moeller, big win over Lexington Lafayette last week. Coach Todd Nauman earned his first career victory there as head coach with the Moeller Crusaders after an 0-2 start. So looking forward to seeing all the talented players that are going to be on the field, like I said, there at Charlie Frederick Stadium Friday night. We'll have all the highlights for you on the Friday Night Frenzy, and I will have a special high school football article of notes and news and stats and trends and everything else for you on Saturday morning as usual. Thanks again for listening and watching us. We will talk to you next week.